So to quickly summarize what all things we have discussed yesterday, we have installed Scala, and I think most of you guys have tried it out already. And the prerequisite for Scala to be installed, you should have JDK already installed and added to your path environment variable. Okay, so because of if you don't have JDK, so your Scala will not work. So yesterday Snehali and Revati also got the same issue. So after installing JDK 1.7 or 1.8, either of them is fine, and then download Scala 2.11 and install it. So once you complete Scala installation, then you can download your Scala Eclipse IDE, start practicing either from Eclipse or from your shell for first few days, or either of them is fine, but going in long run you will be mostly doing it in the Eclipse only. Okay, now let me start. And let me start my Eclipse too. So we talked about all these slides. Yeah, and I also got requests to show the installation on your Linux box. I can show that as well. So before getting started with the today's topics, I'll open that one as well. Okay, so let me. So we have seen Scala C command for compilation, Scala for execution, and we talked about data types, mainly two categories. So val types and reference types, and all numerics. And this root, this hierarchy at least you should remember. So double float, long, int, short, and all these things come under val. And string and all your collections or any class variables come under reference types. Okay, for some of the guys who doesn't have a basic OOPS concepts, we took today morning the Java OOPS concept session. So most of at least 3 to 4 guys from Spark batch also attended that. If any missing guys, if you need to revise your Java OOPS concepts, you can just let me know. I will share those videos with you as well. So there were 2 sessions happened yesterday and today. Okay, and we talked about variables declarations. We talked about strings and string. How do we compare strings, and what are the different types of operations or methods that you can call on strings. Okay. Yep. You're not able to see the screens, Kalevani? Is it the same case with everyone? I think I'm in share mode.
No, I can see your screen.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay. Yeah. Next, we also talked about one of the functional programming feature, which is a type inference, which means just by looking at the value, yesterday we have seen, Scala identifies the type of your variable. Okay, but it identifies your variable type. Once it identified, you can't change its data type. So that is just one example that Scala is a statically typed language. Okay, so let me show you that. I need to close one of them. Let me close this quick start VM. I will show it at the end. Okay, just remind me there once again. You can start practicing your commands, or I will show it in the Eclipse itself. Okay. Now, let's say what is mean by a type inference and statically typed language. So if you have a variable like where I equal to 100, okay, so it accepts this. It is saying that I is already might be used. I is already defined as a value. Okay, just I will define var x. Now, if I assign x equal to 100.50, throws an error message. It's better than type mismatch, found double, required int. So you can assign 200, but you can't assign 100.50, which is a double data type. So a data type gets determined only at the initial, when you initialize a value to it. Okay, so that doesn't mean that whenever you reassign a new value, your data type will also get changed. So determining the data type at the time of initialization is called as type inference. And once the type is decided, you will not be able to change that type again. So that is called as statically typed. Unlike your Python programming language, Python, if it is Python, so it accepts this. You can assign 100 once, and you can assign 100.50 also once. Then that time, dynamically, its data type gets determined. But Scala is not a dynamically data type determined language. It's a static type language. Okay. Even this Eclipse is taking a long time. Let me just use the shell itself. I'll just make use of Scala shell itself. And we talked about multiple assignments and defining tuples, different data types. And we talked about expressions, and we talked about case statements. Okay, now let's continue with the arrays and control flow statements. Okay, so it's better if I can show it on Eclipse itself, but yeah. So same like in your Java, The arrays are like a fixed size sequential collection of homogeneous elements. Means, so only one data type elements can be stored in an array. If you declare it as string, only strings can be stored. If you declare it as int, only ints can be stored. It's not like a structure where you can mix the data types of your elements. It's not like your tuple. And the size of the array, we specify at the time of declaration itself. And you can declare your array, same like any other variable, var followed by your variable name, colon. If you want to specify that this is an array type, you can specify. Optionally, you can leave that also. Since Scala is a type inference, it automatically identifies this as an array by looking at the right side value of it. So if you define with a new operator, new array of string, and specify the size. If it is of int, you use int. Okay. And unlike Java, here, the only difference that you see, parentheses are used to specify the size, whereas in Java we use the square braces, reverse. Okay. So in Java, it is the case. String array args equal to new string array of 10 or something like that. Right? But here, where your array name, where args, array of string, specify the data type there, and new array of string, and size you specify this way. And in Java, we access this elements. So if this is my Java array, I will access that by args of 0 means the first element, args of 1 means second element. This one. But here we use parentheses, not the square braces. The syntactic difference, that's it. And here these indexes can be expressions too in Scala, whereas in Java they are only integers. In Java, if you want to access an array element, that index should be, it's an integral element or it's a number. It cannot be an expression. So here if you see z of 0, it assigns this name to the first element, and z of 1, it assigns the second to the element. And I can even specify 4 by 2, which is not possible in Java. Okay, so you can even specify expressions. And 5 by 2 means it is also, so 4 by 2 means it gets the 2, 5 by 2 means it's 2.5, but the lowest, the lower or the boundary, the lower boundary value will be chosen. It gets assigned to z of 2. Okay, and in the for loops we have different types. Anyway, I will show you this one there itself. Or the other way is defining where z equal to just an array of just values. Also you can specify. So by looking at the values itself, it identifies that this is an array of string and which is of size 3. And coming to the control flow statements, loop. So same, those 3, while loop, do while, and for loop. And while loop and do while, there is nothing much change. It's the same even in Scala, while, and you use your condition there. So until this condition is true, here the block of statements will keep on getting executed. Okay, so here I declared var a equal to 10 while a less than 20. So it keeps on getting incremented and it prints this. And do while, it first executes that block and then checks the condition. Okay, nothing changed in any programming language. So it's the same process. Even the syntax wise, it's the same. Nothing much change. But coming to for loop, there is a syntax change. So in C, you might have seen this way for int. Let's say if you have int I equal to 0 or something, and you specify that I equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus, this way. Okay, this means you want to count from 0 to 10. Okay, so you want I to be incremented by 1 starting from 0 to 10. You can achieve that using a range where we use this arrows 0 to 10. It's like a more similar to Python or your Unix shell script. You might have seen specifying this kind of ranges. Even in Unix shell script, in the for loops, we specify this way, right? More or less. 0 to 10. If it is a range, you specify that. And in Java, JDK 1.5 onwards, you have seen for each loop. For each loop, where if you have an array, let's say I have an array A, so which is a string, let's say I have args. So this is an array of strings. Now, if you want to process each argument there, so you have a for each loop str, which is from args, and you provide this way. This is your for each loop in Java. Here, the same thing you can do, just a for and str element args. So this also means the same. For each element in args, do this process. Or if you are not talking about a collection or an array, if you are worried about a range, then you can specify a range like this. In for loops, you will see the syntax differences, but for while and do while, you don't see any change. Okay, and if you want to try this out, you can simply just take this piece of code, whatever that you want to test. Anyway, I will share these today, the slides as well. Just put it there, and so reassignment to val. Yeah, I think I might have declared somewhere yeah. Where z equal to 0. Let me see. Why is it taking? So reassignment to val. So did I declare anywhere z? I don't need to re-increment this. Automatically that will be taken care. First of all, just execute this in the Scala interpreter, and Z from 1 to 10, it's printing those values. If it is a range, if it is a collection, we'll see the next. So I have either an array. If it is an array, how am I going to declare here? So where ARR, okay, equal to array of just, let me decide, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And similarly, I can even define collections also, but let's not worry about them right now. And for each Y in ARR, just println of Y. And one good thing in worksheet, if you just save it, the worksheet, you can even see as a debug mode all the values, just printing the right side of it after the 2 slashes, like a comment. So this is an array of with this, and it's printing you 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And the above one printed you all these values. Then and there itself, you don't even need to run, don't even need to select and run this. Even if you run this, you will get those results here, that's it. Whereas you are already getting on the right side if you save it. Okay, now there is one more version, one more flavor of this for loop, that is for each with yield operator that we'll see here. So in this example, the yield is not there. Let me show you. So test main method and have an array, my list, and another array, A, with apples. Okay, and I'm just printing all the elements in the array. And for the second array, my fruits, all my fruits names, I'm converting them into uppercase and then printing there. Okay, and if I want to get the length, I'm doing this so and so, looping through them and just finding out the total count of that. Okay, anyway, I can get the total count of that as well. But so summing of all the elements and finding the largest element, these are simple things that you can practice it. So this is the third variety of for loop that I am talking about. So for loop with yield. So what here I am trying to do, if you look at the example, for each E in A, yield, E dot to uppercase, just read it as like an English sentence. For each element in A, yield E dot to uppercase. If A is apple, banana, orange in lowercase, as we have seen here. So if I am processing every element separately and every element I'm converting, I'm yielding, my result is for each element, for each iteration, my result is that element converting into uppercase. And if it is just one line of code, you can just leave this Or if you feel like in a yield, if you have multiple lines of code that you want to use, you can even put that in a block. Okay, in a curly braces, you can put your code and that will result. You can try that out. So this is something that you guys might be seeing for the first time in Scala. Okay, so whereas let's say where fruits equal to array of apple, banana, orange. So now for each f in, or for each fruit in fruits, yield just 2 uppercase. Two uppercase. Okay, so just execute these two or just save it. So if I save this, you can see this is a fruits array, and this result is it's returning apple, banana, orange. It's converting everything. So for each with yield, always returns another collection. Your for loop works on a collection, whether it could be an array or a list or any other collection type. But if you use it with yield, even your result will become another array if you are doing it an array. If your for loop is on array, your result is also another array. If your for loop is on list, your result is also another list. I hope that is clear for you guys. And writing inner loops, nested for loops, is also very simple in Scala. You write this way, just for I1 to 2 and J 2 to 3. Whereas in Java, you have to write in 2 nested loops, right? I1 to 2 and J again 1 to 2. Just println I plus J. Okay, so if I save, or I'm just saving it, you can see for I1 to 2, J1 to 2, it's printed 1 1 1 2 2 1 2. This is same as in your Java. You have 2 for loops, one for loop inside the other. Here you have it this way. For int I equal to 1, I less than 3, or I less than or equal to 2, colon I plus plus, and inside this another for loop. Int I is already declared somewhere, that's why I use L, or I don't declare this, I'll leave this as I equal to. Okay, and for J equal to 1 and J less than or equal to 2, J++. And here you are using, again, I think J is also. This is equivalent to this. If you have any nested levels, if you have 3 levels also, you can just have semicolon here and you write K1 to 3 and L1 to 5, any levels. But here you keep on writing them in the nested levels. Okay, so that is how your nested for loops can be written in Scala. Next, so this might be a bit new for with yield. I hope you got that. So here it comes the pain of not having primitives or keywords in Scala. Since everything is a object in Scala, you need anything that you use that should be an object. That's the reason we don't have a keyword called break. In Java, so for example, if you are executing in a loop and on a condition, somehow some condition is met, based on that condition, if you want to exit from that loop, then you have a break keyword. That is a keyword. But here we don't have that keyword. We need to make use of an object. For that also we have a breaks class in a scala.util.control. If I have to loop, let's say per suppose I'm in this printing 1 to Z 1 to 10. If Z is 5 or if Z is 7, Z is 7. So I want to break this. After 7, I don't want to, or 7, I don't want to execute. After 7, I don't want to execute this. So if you need the break keyword functionality, we should make use of the, actually you need to do little extra efforts here than Java. So that what you need to do is you need to import scala.util.control._. Here underscore in Scala means it's a star in Java, and import purpose is same. And one good thing with Scala imports, wherever you want, there itself you can directly import it. And you imported that, you create an object of breaks class, okay? And inside that you should write your for loop. Sorry, I should put it somewhere here. And I should have this import class above this. Okay, so since it came above that, so that error message has gone. Now, so I got the breaks object in loop. If anything that you want to have a break wherever you want, you need to keep that in a loop dot breakable. it's breakable. Now, on this, if you want to break, just loop.break. So here, breaks is an object. Breaks is a class. For that class, you are creating a loop object. And on that loop object, you are calling breakable. And on a condition basis, you are calling a loop.break. That error message has gone now. So if you see, it printed only up to 7. After that, that loop got break out. So just execute these two. If you have any, a little bit extra efforts here. Okay. So your breaks class will be present in Scala util.control package. This one you have to import and create an object of breaks class, and you have to call 2 methods. One is loop.breakable, inside which you have to write your loop statements, whatever it is. It could be either for loop or while loop or do while, whatever it is. And on inside that for loop, based on a condition, if you want to break out, you can call that the object dot break method. So now you can, you might understand why we call Scala is more pure object oriented than Java, because of 2 reasons already. One is the primitive data types are not there. Everything is class only. Even if you do 2 plus 3, that is 2 is treated as one integer object and 3 is treated as another integer object, and plus is treated as a method on that integer object. And here also, even for break keyword, you're doing this. You're creating an object of breaks, and on that, you're calling the break method. Okay. So this is the one place which is little extra efforts when compared to your Java code. And you can try this out now. So next, let's get started with the functions. So functions, we have so many varieties. But before going to all those varieties, let's talk about the basic stuff about functions. So how do we write a function in Java? So we specify, yeah, maybe I will stop here if you have any questions before I get started with functions. Till now, whatever we discussed, arrays, loops, any questions, you can, yep. Go ahead, Snehali.
Yeah. Is there anything called as exit here, like exit 0, exit 1 type, in which you can exit out of that particular function?
System.exit you can call. That is something that you are coming out of that entire program, not from that method.
No, for example, if I want to not completely break the function, but I want to get the return value. So if a particular code is executed which gives you which return value is 0, then I need to do X, Y, Z. Like, so if in case if I have to branch out after a couple of lines of execution, then how do I do that? Should I be giving break to that? Because I don't want to actually break from the execution.
You have
branch
to,
out.
Yeah, you have to. If you have to branch out based on a condition, like you will use if-else condition to branch out. If a condition is met, you will call a different method. If condition is not met, you will call another method.
Okay, so there is no concept of exit here then.
No exit. At least exit is not used for that purpose.
Okay. So is exit a reserved word in Java or in Scala? Yes.
Exit is a reserved word in Java. We have not exit, but here
Quit.
in Scala we
Quit.
use return. Use return to come out of that method.
Okay.
This. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, any other questions? Okay. So if not, let me continue. Okay. Hey, who is this Kumar? I'm sorry to ask this. There's someone joined with Kumar name. Hello, Kumar? Hello, Kumar, can you hear me? I don't know who this Kumar is. Okay, let it be. Yeah, so coming to the functions, how do we declare in Java and how do we write in Scala? Let's see. Let's say if I have a small function, I'll specify the access modifier first, and then my return type. Let's say if I'm not returning anything, I'll just specify void and print hello and some string message. Okay. So it just prints out this out. So here you can observe one access modifier, return type, and function name, and its input parameters, and your body, the body of your function in the curly braces. And our Scala functions syntactically look very close to your Python functions. We use the def keyword to denote it as a function. The way for variables, we use var or val. For functions, we use def. Def and your function name, the same print hello. And here you specify your variable name first and then data type. And your return type is also specified after your method name. Okay, let's say if I'm returning string, I do this, and my definition can be I can use equal to also. This is again like optional, or just message. Okay, here if I call, let's say after this println of, I print hello. So what I'm doing here, or if I have to take where str equal to my print hello, I'll take this way and println of str. So print hello, I'm not printing here. I'm just taking this parameter and it returns a string. and my body is having equal to separated by, in my curly brace, I just have message. So this is equivalent to a return message. Anything that you have, the last line of your method, that is automatically gets returned. Okay, your last statement, if you have anything, that is your return value. You don't need to explicitly specify this is your return value. Okay, if you have multiple expressions, yes, you can specify return also. If you are from Java background and if you got used to it, you can specify return as well. Even if you forget to specify return, the last statement itself is the return. Now, so this is as good as same. Now it returns whatever the string that you pass, it returns the same string, and that got assigned to str. And that now, if I will print here. I'm just doing extra efforts here, but instead of printing that. Okay, difference between function and method. There is there are no two components, either function or method. They both are same here. Meaning sometimes like people differentiate it, like if it is a function, you don't need to have a object and blah 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 stuff, but you don't need to worry about anything. They both are same. Okay, treat both method or function is the same. If you have any function inside a class, and if you create an object for that class, some technical definition wise, you should call a function inside an object, or if you're calling a function on top of an object, that is called as method. But if you declare a function independent of the class, outside of class also you can write your functions just in Scala shell, or you can just write your function and just calling that. Okay, so here you don't need to differentiate that. We don't have any such differences anywhere. You treat both of them as same. Now, in this simple example function, def is my keyword and fun is my function name. It takes only one argument, one parameter. So a, which is of int type, and my return type is also integer, and my function body takes equal to. And equal to is again like only classes can have declared but undefined methods. See? So here you need to provide your implementation after equal to. Then that error message is going away. Okay. And unlike Java, your return type will be specified after the function name instead of before the function name. Okay. Is there any static method mechanism like Java? Yes, we have. We'll talk about that in OOPS concepts. Okay. For now, let's just focus on only on the functional programming side. So we are just started with functions now. So def function name followed by parameters list in a parenthesis. If you have more, just separate them out by comma, and then optionally specify your return type. Return type is not mandatory, Again, like Scala is type inference. It can determine based on the last statement of your method. It determines, so what are you going to return? And it identifies that type. And equal to, and your function definition. If I'm passing a as 10, it will become 10 plus 1 and 10 minus 2 and 10 star 3. Finally, 30 will be returned from this function. And if you don't have multiple lines of code, you can omit this curly braces. You can just write this in one single line. So I have one more function defined, def is palindrome string str, which is of string type, equal to str dot reverse dot toString. If both that string and as well as reverse, if they both matches, then that is called as a palindrome. Okay, you can test all this stuff in your worksheet. So P is already defined as a value. And then I will define Q. Then I will define R if P, Q are already there. See, final result R is 30. And is palindrome, that returns true. So result 5 is true. And as you can see in this interpreter, these results are in your Scala shell. If you don't assign any value, assign any variable name to the final result, then Scala itself will assign a variable to it starting from res 0. Result 0, result 1, result 2, result 3, result 4, like that. It keeps on assigning them. So your final, whatever you're trying to print. So this, for this statement, this is a function and this has a name. And for this execution, you are returning a value true, but you're not assigning to any variable. So that's why it assigned in the sequence res5, which is of type Boolean, and its value is true. Okay. So a value will not change after first statement, a plus 1 in function. Yes, that's a good point. We will discuss that in the next slide. That if you pass any variables or any arguments that are of value types, that are of any val, then those values cannot be changed. So int is also one of the any val, correct? This is a child of any val type, so you can't change that. So we'll see that in the next slide. And for return function return type, even if you don't specify, based on the last statement, it identifies that return type. So if you observe here, def add a int b int a plus b and val m equal to a add 1 comma 2 and println of m, which prints 3. This works. And we have not specified the return type of the function or the type of the variable m. Even for variable m, we didn't specify the type, but Scala infers that. But if you don't specify the data type for your method parameters itself, then Scala cannot infer that. At the time of method declaration, if you specify add a comma b, if you are doing a plus b, the compiler to validate whether this statement is syntactically correct or not, it cannot, because a plus b, if you are doing plus operation, if it is an integer, if these two are integers, you can do plus. If these two are doubles, you can do plus. If these two are strings, even then you can do plus for concatenation. If these two are some class objects or class variables, then how does that plus will work? And you don't know, or your compiler doesn't know what is these data types are going to be. That's why this statement, your method parameters without data type, your Scala won't accept. Your method parameters data types won't be inferred. Scala does not infer type of function parameters, unlike languages like Haskell or ML. There are such languages also. Okay. Next. And again, so as we are doing here, def function to a comma b, which is of a plus b. This is not possible. Reason: only classes can have declared but undefined members. And if you specify this as int and this as int, the error has gone. Now, so you declared them as variables here. You're not specifying. If you have to declare these variables outside, let's say var a, which is of int, this way we'll declare. Okay, var a int, since there is already a declared, that's why you see that error message outside. Here, inside your method name, inside your method parameters, you can't use whether it is a var. If you try to specify your a is a var, then it throws an error message saying that identifier expected but var found. You're not allowed to use var. Then let's try with val. Even then it throws the same identifier expected but val found. You're not used to either val or var. You should leave them as it is. It's just a variable name and their data type. That's it. You should not tie them to either name. Sorry. You should not tie them to either val or var. But what is the behavior of these values? Here, just have an example. Let's say so I have a plus b. This is acceptable. I equal to where I equal to a plus b. So you're doing a plus b and assigning this to I. That is allowed. But if I try to assign it to any one of these values, a equal to a plus b. So I want to assign the sum of these two values into a. Then it is throwing me error message saying that reassignment to val, which means it is considering that a is a constant. If you are passing it to an element, an argument to a function, if they are val types, they are treated as constant. You can't change their values. You can use them for your expressions, but you can't assign a new value to those parameters. If you need, you can declare new variables locally. Inside your function, you can declare your new variable var I, but you can't assign that same value to a itself. That means even though you're not passing either var or val, but these fields are behaving like a vals. Okay, these are minor points. You just have to catch them. Small points that you should catch them. You're not allowed to use either val or var. That doesn't mean that you can change their values inside. So they act like a val, even though you don't provide val keyword in front of those variables. Here you can see def m1 of I int equal to I plus 2. So this is not mean I equal to I plus 2. This doesn't mean that I equal to I plus 2. You are returning I plus 2. Obviously fine, no error message. I am passing def m1. I am passing an integer value to I, and to that same I equal to I plus 2, return I, then that throws an error message. So your method parameters are unchangeable or unmutable. Function parameters are not mutable. Now, what is the purpose of that? So it's the same like your Java behavior, Raj. Since you know Java better, you can understand it like, so if you pass a integers as a parameters to your Java method, and can you change those parameter values after the completion of that method? No. Only if you pass objects, then you can change that object state. This is something yesterday, as we have discussed, we have a data types of two categories, right? So one is under any val, and another one is any ref. So if you pass anything like int, float, double, and char, boolean, all these are like a call by value. Okay, in call by value mechanism, you will never be able to change your method parameters. So you can change internally inside your method, but once you come out of the method, your parameter value is going to be as it is. But if you use any ref type, class variables or objects, then you can change the state of your object inside your method, and that object state will be continued even after completion of your method. This is called call by reference. Call by reference or call by memory also. We call it in programming language like C. Call by value, call by reference. It's the same. It's there in Java too. It's nothing new in Scala. It's there in C, it's there in C++, it's there in Java, it's there in Scala too. In C, if you pass only values, then the values cannot be changed. If you pass the pointers, then values can be changed. That is called call by reference or call by memory. Here, if you pass objects, so object is a memory reference will be, object's memory reference will be passed to the method. And if you change the object status, if you come out of the method, that object status will be continued as it is. Any questions around that? Okay. Yep. Okay. So maybe if you don't understand this slide much, because we didn't talk about classes and the OOPS concepts of it, no worries. But if you know the Java class concept, you'll be able to understand this, let's say. So let's say if I have a basic class. So now if you pass any val types, you can't change them. Now I'm trying to pass any ref types, meaning some class variables. I'm declaring a class field, which is of generic type, any type, whatever that type. So var value, that type. Now I have another class called foo, inside which I have two fields, val x, val y, new field of 0, new field of 0. Now these two are 0, 0 only. Okay, and I have third class, which is a bar, and I have a method, change foo field. I'm going to change this field. I'm passing one field, which is a field of integer, this type. Okay, so field dot value equal to 1. Whichever field you pass it to it, that field value will become 1. How this variable is not any type, any val type. This is a class. Field is a class. And now this becomes an object. An object, you're calling this field value. You are changing the status of an object. Then that will be continued. Okay. So for that, I'm creating testing. For testing that, have val f, created the new foo object, and creating the object of bar and calling the change foo field f dot x. So if I call f dot x, it should bring me 0, because new field of 0 means value is 0 here. But the change foo, if I pass 0 here, I mean for x, and x dot, the value is 1. Now if I print f dot x dot value is 1, whereas f dot y dot value is still 0 only. So what I am trying to say is, so instead of any val types, if you pass objects, inside those objects, you can change the values of your object attributes. Same like your Java. Okay, don't get confused too much. This is same as your Java functionality or any other C or C++ programming functionality. If you just pass integer or float or double values, they can't be changed. If you put them inside a class, and if you pass that class variable as an argument to your method, then those fields can be changed. Logic is simple. Is it similar to typecasting? This is not about typecasting, Dhruva. So what I'm trying to say is, let's say you have int age and string name, and okay, let's take just these two, or string role. Okay, if you just have these three attributes, and if you call a method change me, okay, and if you pass age, name, role, and if you change them inside your method, and if you return them, they are not going, the outside of, once you come out of that method, these values are not going to change. Whatever the values that you change inside this, that is just internal to it. If you assign them to a new variable or do whatever you want, but you can't actually change these values. But what I am trying to say is, if you put it inside a class, let's say class employee, and inside the class you have these attributes, now you create an object, or you send a variable of this emp e. If you pass e is argument to method, and if you change e dot age equal to 25, now this will get changed. E dot name equal to Jags, this will get changed. E dot role equal to PM, project manager. So if I do this, this will get changed. If I simply pass directly these variables, it will not get changed. At least if you understood this line of difference, that's enough. You should pass the object reference instead of the fields if you want to change them, if you want mutability on them. I'm not sure how many of you guys got it. I know if you're not from programming background, this confuses a bit.
Hey Shiva.
Yes, Raj. I know you might have got it.
Yeah, but just one question. Can you please go to your Java program?
Yeah. Yep.
And please, can you try to create any one of the method and pass the value like integer I and try to change the value like I is equal to I plus 1 and something like that? I'm pretty sure Java allows it.
Yep, that allows it. Okay. Or like, so here you have this, right? Message equal to hello to.
Yeah, that's why I confuse.
It allows you, but once you come out of it, it won't. The value is not changed. And one good thing with Scala is it doesn't even allow you.
Oh, okay. Okay, got it.
The final result is same in both the places.
Oh, okay. Got it. Thanks, Siva.
Internally, you can change within your method, you can change. But once you come out of this method, whatever the value that you passed to this, that is not going to change. Let's say you have a you are calling this print hello from your main method. Okay, this is your main. Let's say this is your main method. String str equal to some hello or something, and you are passing this print hello of str2 or str3. I don't know which ones are not used. Okay, so if I call, let's say again, this is not a static one, public static. Okay, so if I call this, so I'm changing that message to this value, but here it's not going to reflect after this method execution. But one good thing with Scala is it's not even allowing you to assign a new value to that.
Oh, okay, I got it. So whenever you call this method, the parameter is not changing, but you can change in the method. That's allowed by Java, but Scala doesn't allow.
Yep.
Anyhow, you are not reflecting to the caller one. That's why.
Yep. Anyhow, you are not reflecting your result to the caller.
Yeah.
That's why it doesn't even allow you to do that.
Oh, okay. Now got it. Thanks, Siva.
Yep. It is in that case, Java is more confusing, and Scala is little bit clear that it's stopping you in the beginning itself from assigning a new value to it.
Yeah, they also confused, but now I'm clear. Thanks, Siva.
Yep. Guess it's like final string str in Java. Yeah, val means final only. Okay, val means constant only. Anything that you declare as a val in Scala, that is a final in Java. Okay, so you might ask me, why do we need this much of depth of piece of code? But it's better to understand. Okay, so you might need to know these basics. Okay, now let me move on to the next. Yeah, and a few more interesting points about methods here. You will find when you are coming from other programming languages like Java or C, you'll find it interesting here. You can pass default values also at the time of method declaration itself. See, let's say I have a class connection, and inside that I have make connection. So till now we were seeing only your method parameter name and its data type, comma, another parameter name and its data type. But we didn't pass any initial values to them. Now, you can declare your methods with initial values of parameter names also, initial values for your parameters. Now I'm specifying timeout as 5000 and protocol string as HTTP protocol. Now, if someone calls my method make connection without passing any parameter, this is a kind of constructor for a method. You have a default values for your method parameters. Now, if I create an object of new connection, c.make connection without passing anything, it prints timeout 500 and protocol HTTP. And if I pass only one parameter, then the other one will become the default value that you have declared at that time. And if you pass both the values, then obviously, if I pass 3000 and protocol type as HTTPS instead of HTTP, then those two will get used in my function definition, function execution. It's something new that you might be observing in Scala. Okay, so this one and the previous slide not allowing method parameters to be changed. These two are something new in Scala. And there is one more thing new that you observe here. You can call your methods or functions by interchanging in any order of your parameters. In Java, it's not possible. Let's say if you have more than 2 arguments, string message and int I or int I is there. Let me stop calling this. So if I want to call them in the reverse order, I always have to call string comma 100. But if I call this in reverse order, there is no scope that I can call this in reverse order. It throws error message. Since you have, you can specify them in any order by taking the parameter name also in the call. So using parameter names, we can call these methods in any order of your parameters. Let's say I declared my method this way, timeout as first parameter and protocol as second. So I can simply, while calling also, I can specify timeout equal to 10,000 and protocol equal to HTTPS. Or without specifying the parameter name, I can simply pass the values. If I am simply passing the values, these values should be in the order that you have declared on your method. But if you can also use parameter names at the time of calling. Timeout equal to 10,000, protocol equal to HTTPS. When you are using parameter names, it doesn't matter that whatever order you provide there. In any order, whatever order that you feel like, you can provide. C.make connection of protocol equal to HTTPS, timeout equal to 10,000. So these two are something that new you are observing here in Scala. Is this clear till now? Lot of points about functions. There is a lot more on functions. Okay. Now, so in Java, if you have to return multiple values, so there is no way that you can write a bean class or pojo class with all those attributes and fill that attributes and return that object. If you have 4 attributes you have to declare and 4 getter methods, 4 setter methods, and you have to set them and return that. And at the time of retrieving, you should make use of that object and retrieve those fields. But in Scala, it is very simple with tuples. See, if I have to return more than one value from a method, def get stock info. So my stock quote name and the price, lowest price and the highest price. So all 3 values, I kept it in a tuple and returning that tuple. And at the time of receiving also, I'll simply call get stock info and assign this to a tuple. Well, my stock symbol and lowest price and the bid price or current price or bid price. Or you can even declare this way, val x, under that x dot underscore 1 means the first, underscore 2 means second, underscore 3 means third. This is dealing with multiple, if you have to return multiple values from a method. Just a 1 line of code. Whereas in Java, if you have to do this, you have to at least extra add 30 to 40 lines of code, including all the getter, setter methods, constructor, and attributes, declarations, everything for that POSO class. Correct? I mean, are you guys feeling it like it's so confusing? Because everyone is silent. Maybe. Okay. Just stop me. I mean, I'm okay. I'll spend much time on these basics. Yeah, you stop me then and there itself. Okay. Okay. So maybe you need to go through the basic Java concepts, Dharmesh. No, I'm fine. Just trying to differentiate between Java and Scala. Yep. Yep. Agreed. Because slowly, I mean, there were 14 candidates joined, and slowly 5 minutes back it became 13. Now it's 12. I don't want to people get escape from the session. If you're not understanding, just stop me there itself. Everyone is equal for me. I'll try to explain once again and again. Okay. So this we have talked about basic functions. Functions, what all points if we want to list down these. Okay. What all points that we discussed about functions? Function return types are inferred automatically, right? Return type is optional, and last statement result will be returned by default from the function. Now, method parameters. For method parameters, we should not use var or val. Both of them we should not use, but they behave like vals for any val type, any val data type parameters. And if you need a mutability on method parameters, you need to pass them inside an object. Okay, and you can, a few more points are like function parameters at the time of declaration, the time of function declaration, we can provide default values to function parameters, like timeout equal to 5000, protocol equal to HTTP. And at the time of calling, at calling time, if you pass parameter names also, then order of parameters is not considered. You can provide in any order. Only if you pass just the values, then those values should be in the same order of your method definition. And if you want to return multiple values, if you want to return multiple values from function, we can just use tuples, meaning, so get stock info. So here from this method, you need to return all three values. Stock symbol is Yahoo, and price is $100, and highest price is 1 or 2. And at the time of collection also, you can just simply collect that into a tuple directly. Val symbol, price, high, and just call this. You automatically get Yahoo assigned into symbol and 100 into price and 1 or 2 into this. Whereas to achieve this in Java, just these 2 lines of code in Java, you at least need to write 30 to 40 lines of code. Minimum 40 lines of code just with 3 attributes if you write it up. You need a separate POSO class for this, and constructor getters, setters. Okay, so basic, just a quick comparison here, whatever so far we have learned till now. So declaring variables in Scala, var x int 7 or var x equal to 7 type input. Here int x equal to 7. If you have a constant final string y equal to high, we declare that as val. And if I have a method int square int x return x star x, I can define this way, define square x, which returns int x star x. Or you can provide that in a curly brace. And this is the announce Java method and Scala method, the same announce. Okay, and this recursion and all these stuff, higher order functions, anonymous functions, and all these are functional programming features. Okay, and functions with placeholder and nested functions or local functions. These closures are very, very, very important. We use them. These anonymous functions, closures, we use very heavily in Spark. Okay, you'll see all of them in Spark. So we'll try to cover this remaining function types: anonymous functions, higher order functions, closures, and currying is not much important. Immutability we already talked about. Laziness and strict evaluation, non-strict evaluation. This stuff we will discuss. And collections, pattern matching. At least I'm planning to enter into the OOPS concepts next week. And next week we'll be having only 2 sessions, but those 2 sessions, it would be better if you guys mentally prepare for each session. We extend at least half an hour so that at least we can recover 1 hour. So please, is that possible to get an assignment like our Hadoop class? I think that will help us a lot for practice. Yeah, I can give assignment, but at this moment, in this week, yeah, let me see. Since you completed functions also, I can give you some assignments. Same like your Hadoop. Yeah, I do agree that if I give assignments and if you practice that, That will help you. Otherwise, you guys keep listening and keep so silent in sessions. Okay, I think we have already prepared. Let me share them. Okay. We have a lot. Okay, I have given project also, Scala project. Okay, I'll share them. Whatever is suitable, I've prepared for the previous batch also. I will share it to you. I'll put it in the assignments folder in the Google Drive. Just find it and provide the solutions.
Hi Shiva, this is Sujit here.
Yeah, Sujit.
Could you share me the home link for your Google Share?
You are not there. I am sorry, man. Then it's my mistake. You're not there in this.
You share me only the file access.
I think I gave you the entire folder. Let me check. Hey, just to confirm if your email ID is it yours? Yes.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and let me open this for each one of you. Just check once whether your email ID is present or not, and especially Gmail ID is needed. So Dhruva, you are there. Dharmesh, you are there. Revati, you are there. Jagdish, you are there. Sunil Juneja. Sutapa Sen. Is Sutapa Sen joining our sessions? I don't think so. He's joining. Okay. Then let me remove his. Raj, you are there. And Kalaivani, you are there. Mahesh Babu. Sujit Surendran. And Mahesh Babu. Dhruva. Lariso, I think you are not there, man. You're not there, Lariso. Dhruva, you are there. Okay. Lariso. Let me add Lariso DP Recto. And who else is missing?
Nihali is missing.
Oh,
Shiva,
oh, sorry.
how can you do that?
How dare I?
Exactly, how dare you?
Okay. I think rest all are there. Yep. Bhagwan should be there. I don't know his email ID. Okay, let it be. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Is anyone missing? Shravani, you're not there. Oh my God. Shravani Paritala. Okay. And rest all are there. Shravani, you're not. You got it. Yep. Yeah. So I'll put that assignments. I'll create assignments folder there, and I will give access. I mean, anything that is placed inside this folder, you all guys will have access to it. Okay. So, any other questions? And one more time, sorry for the confusions that I created today. And next week we have only 2 sessions, and let's mentally prepare to have a 2.5 hour sessions at least, so that we can cover 1 hour extra. Okay. So can you please recommend any websites or books to brush up the basics of OOPS concepts? I will read about it in this week. First of all, go through the videos. I will share it with you, Lariso. Again, like, yeah, so since you guys are here only, let me share these 2 Java videos to both of you, or whoever needed, just let me know your email IDs. I'll just add it. Lariso TP return. And I'm sharing some of the sample Java programs as well. Just first practice those stuff. And my recommendation is to go through that Java complete, Core Java Volume 1 by K.S. Hostman. Okay. Core Java Volume 1 by K.S. Hostman.
Share with me too, Shiva.
Okay. Yep.
Nihali.
Actually, I was expecting you to be part of today's session.
I know. I just could not make it today morning.
Okay. No problem. And Revati and Dharmesh and Shravani. Kalayuani. Okay. So I think rest all are fine. I don't know who else is needed. Okay. And I will place this examples, source code, all the Java examples, simple examples. Okay. So this is how you should start learning. In my opinion, if you want to learn anything, if you keep on reading books, you should get the first simple examples first and start practicing the examples directly. Then only you'll get better understanding than reading through the books. If you execute simple programs and see the result, then that you will not forget from your brains that easily. Okay, so I will share the Java programs also to you all guys. And to all of you. So whoever needs to practice, to Kalai, Shravani, Paritala, Snehali, and Dharmesh, and Revati, Lariso, Dhruva. Okay, and whoever is needed.
Yeah, share with me, Shiva.
Okay, sorry. I need your Gmail ID. So Jagati. Is it
gjax15 at gmail.com.
Gjags? Okay, yeah, I got.
Shiva Sujit here. Could you add me also?
Yeah, sure. And I know, there are some Java experts if they review my session. So that's why I share it only for non-Java guys. They feel it like it's very ABCDs for them. That's the reason. Okay. So any more questions? Okay. So any concerns? How is the speed going on? Do you have any concerns with timings, or you have concerns with anything? Of course, you may not have much because this is the first week. Yeah, but still. So let's plan for next week at least 5 hours for 2 days.
Shiva, Sunday is better. Make it 2 hours, and Saturday make it Friday make it 3 hours is okay.
Okay. Yeah, fine. No problem.
Because Sunday is 11:30, 12. It's hard for us to.
I can understand. Yep. I can understand. Okay. Okay, let's do that same then. No problem. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Let's meet next week, Friday night, which means Saturday morning, India timing. And by the time, or maybe in another hour or so, I will upload this today's video and assignments also to there. Just try to take that up by next Friday. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good night.
Yep.
Thank you.